All right, everyone. Well, we're back at it here Monday morning, and today it's the last day of September. So September is now in the books. I am done trading. Not going to take any more trades today. So that means September is locked up, which is great. And we've got a new month right around the corner. So typically I get excited for the end of the year, October, November, December. This has always been the time of year that I get excited. I think historically I did better in the fall, sort of, I don't know, just like there's more momentum in the market, there's more action, there's more news headlines. Summer's always a little slow. So, this summer happened to be pretty good, but that also gets me excited to think if the summer was good, what's the fall going to be like? So anyways, we're coming to the end of September and locking up today, another green day, which is good. Nothing crazy, base hit day for the most part, green on 4 out of 4 stocks I traded. I did trade a little bit more today than a couple other days. The thing was, well, we'll get into it. Let's start with the first trade of the day. All right, so we'll go to the top of the list. First trade of the day, ZCMD. So if you watched my game plan for the week ahead, which of course I post for you guys on the YouTube channel, and hopefully you guys saw it. My game plan for the week ahead posted last night or yesterday afternoon, I guess it was. In that episode, I said I would be watching ZCMD for possible continuation on Monday. And the way I found it was by using my scanner here, which is my top after hours gainers. Where is it? I always lose track of this. There it is, after hours top gainers. So ZCMD was the after hours leader on Friday. Now, I don't usually have a lot of interest in, I wouldn't hold something overnight from Friday to Monday. I think most people probably wouldn't want to hold over a weekend. It's kind of unnecessary risk. But nonetheless, it was, the leading gapper on Friday or after hours. So I thought, well, I'll keep it on watch here Monday morning, and maybe it'll continue into today. So this morning, when I first pulled up the scans, it was about, 6:30, 6:45. I pull up the scans and I see ZCMD as our leading gainer at that point. It was the leading gainer on the day. And we really didn't have much that looked great. So I was like, all right, well, okay, this is ZCMD. Now, I did note what some of you guys have said, that although there wasn't a specific catalyst on this, we did have the larger catalyst of economic stimulus coming out of China. And so Chinese companies, getting maybe just that sympathy boost. In fact, Duo, which is up right now, is also a Chinese stock. So that may in fact be the catalyst, and that's it. Because there's not a fresh catalyst. There's no news otherwise. But anyway, so I sat down here at my desk around 6:45, pulled up charts, scans, and started to get kind of organized. And that's when I saw ZCMD doing this pattern. Now, at this time here, I looked at it and I thought, well, I don't know that I'm going to want to take a trade right here, because that was at about, it's about 6:55. It was a little before 7 a.m. Now, at 7 a.m., look at the volume spike. Big volume comes in right at 7 a.m. Why? Because 7 a.m. is when retail trading brokers come online. So Thinkorswim, E-Trade, etc. You can't trade before 7 a.m. with a lot of those brokers. So this started to pull away before 7 a.m., but I was like, I don't know. I think I should kind of wait till like 7 a.m. So what I ended up doing was it pops up here, it pulls back, and on this pullback right here, this ended up forming our first micro pullback right there. So it squeezes up, it dips down, and I got in at 248. Now, with this one, there was a little bit of an issue, which is that, well, currently has 47 million shares of volume, and it was pretty thickly traded. So when I was looking at the level 2 at that point early this morning, it was 248, 247, 246, sort of on the bid, coming back down, 249 on the ask. And there were a lot of buyers on the bid, but there were also a lot of sellers on the ask. So the level 2 is pretty thickly traded. I'll show it to you. Let's see. Well, actually, so let me pull it up. ZCMD. So right now it's still pretty thickly traded, pretty stacked on the bid, pretty stacked on the offer. So for this stock, I felt that I needed to take larger share size in order for the first trade, in order to really make any money on it. I didn't think this was the type of stock that was likely to drop 15 or 20 cents. I also didn't think it was going to go up 15 or 20 cents. So basically when I pulled it up, I said, well, realistically, I'm probably looking at 5 to 10 cent winners on this. I'm thinking it's going to break 250, but I don't even know if it's going to get to 259. 259 is the pre-market high right up here. So even though that was my target, that's only 9 cents a share. So on this one, I said, I'm going to have to take larger share size. And I had to ask myself, is that okay? You know, your first trade on Monday, taking bigger share size, that might be a little risky. Should you do it? I'm not sure. And when it was first moving right here, as at 240, I was like, no, I don't think so. But as it popped quite nicely up from about 230 to 250, I said, you know what? I'll give it a stab. So I bought 7,500 shares at 248. All right, it breaks 250, it goes to 254. And then right at 7 a.m. when it breaks 255, I added another 5,000 shares. It breaks 255, it goes up to 266, and it squeezes up to a high of 269. And right into that squeeze, I took my profit off the table. So on 12,000 shares, it was 12,500 shares, I pulled, $1,600 of profit out of the market, which is 12, 10. So yeah, about 12 cents a share. That's not bad. I mean, to be honest, that's better than I expected. And I did it without really taking what I felt was more than a couple $100 of risk. Because when I was in at 248, right, my entry here, 248, we had 247 on the bid. And I was thinking for me, I was thinking 7,500 share position, 7,500 shares, which dollar size is not that big. It's not even a $25,000 trade. But I'm thinking, all right, I'm in it here at 48, stop. I was sort of thinking 245, right? Because we had buyers at 46. So 245, 244, 243, 241. This is a stock that had 1 cent spreads. So it wasn't like it was jumping, all the way down or dropping all the way down potentially to 235, 225, 215. So for that reason, I felt confident. But I also, 249, 250, 251, seeing the level 2 stacked up like this, I just didn't know if we were even going to get that move to 259. So we ended up getting it, broke the ice, first trade of the day, $1,600 of profit. That was the only trade I took on ZCMD. That was it. Just one trade. And then when it pulled back here, I was thinking, all right, well, unfortunately now it's starting to look like a head and shoulders pattern. So the head and shoulders is this first move up, bull flag, move higher, and then stalling out and coming all the way back down to the previous level, right? So kind of like this, and then like that, and then dropping back down. And that's ended up, not exactly what happened, but it wasn't able to get back up. So that was ZCMD, one trade on it. That was it. And that was right at 7 a.m. So then after that, I was like, okay, good job. Broke the ice. That was your cushion. And then I didn't take any trades at 7 a.m. after that because there was nothing else at 7 a.m., the top of the hour with breaking news that I liked. So I was waiting for news, didn't see anything I liked. So no trades. 7:30, same thing. Nothing with breaking news, no trades. Coming up to 8 a.m., all of a sudden EMKR starts hitting my scanner. EMKR, I pull it up, I pull up the level, I pull up the chart. While the chart's loading, I'm pulling up the level 2. And what I see on it and instantly is that it's spiking up. And I'm like, whoa, hello. This is a pretty serious move that we've got right now. So let me zoom this in. So this basically, as you can see, in 10 seconds shoots up from $1.20. $1.20, it goes up to $2. Then it goes up to $2.50 to $3, hits $3.50, dips down right here. I bought this dip right there with 5,000 shares. It pops back up to $3.50. I'm holding for the break at $3.50. And then I see someone post, hey, the news is that it's a buyout. And so I said, oh, all right, I'm getting out. So typically, when we get a headline of a buyout, this is a buyout offer. It's not a confirmed buyout, but it's a buyout offer. Soars after Mobix Labs offers to buy the company at $3.80 per share. Typically, when you have a buyout offer, and certainly a confirmed buyout, but a buyout offer, usually the stock goes pretty much to that level. A buyout that's confirmed, the stock goes to that level and trades exactly at that price or within, a percent or two of that price. Sometimes it trades at a little bit of a discount because if you, like, let's say for instance, you had a stock that, but let's just say the buyout is $5 a share, just for instance. And, so it's trading at 350 and immediately spikes up to, let's say, 475. Some people would be like, well, wait a second. Why is it not trading exactly at 5? Why is it trading at 475? Well, you could buy it at 475. You could buy 10,000 shares of this at 475 and just wait. And when the buyout goes through, your stock will be bought out at $5, which means you'll have $2,500 per share or total profit, 25 cents, $2,500. But you've got to wait. You've got to wait till the buyout gets confirmed, or till the buyout finally goes through, and then you have to wait to receive the settlement. So it takes some time. And during that time, you have some risk. And the risk is that, well, what if someone sues? Someone sues the board of directors and says this buyout deal is unfair. It's not fair to shareholders. What if shareholders sue? What if the Department of Justice or some regulator comes in and says, nah, we can't approve this merger. This would create a monopoly. Now that's probably not going to happen on a small cap stock. But let's just say if it does, then all of a sudden what's going to happen? Boom, the price is probably going to go back more or less to where it was before the buyout. So to make $2,500 on 10,000 shares while risking, potentially, well, what could this be? A loss back down $20,000? The risk to reward ratio's not really great, combined with the fact that the longer you're holding the stock, the more you're just exposing yourself to your cash is tied up. It's a risk. So for that reason, they often do trade a little bit of a discount to the actual buyout price. And some people take that risk and say, yeah, I'm fine with it. It works 9 out of 10 times. The buyout goes through, I get my money. And then the one time it drops, maybe they have a tight stop with a stop order and it takes them out. So however you do it is fine. But it's not surprising that the stock may not trade exactly at the buyout. But this was surprising to me that when it pulled back, so I got out. I was like, all right, well, it's a buyout, so it's not going to go any further. If the buyout's at 380, up here at 350, that's probably it. So I ended up getting out at about 340. And then it drops down to 3. And then it drops down 275, 260. I said, that's weird. Why? It's kind of odd. Typically, I would expect this to trade a little bit closer to that level. I mean, the only question is this a fake offer? Is this not a real offer? Is there any reason the company wouldn't accept this offer? Generally when you have a good buyout offer, they do get accepted. Now, this company might say, no, we're not going to sell, 380. I mean, that's for shareholders, that only gets back to where we were in February, right? Which, well, if the company was better, it wouldn't have dropped this much. And look, some people would be happy to get out at 4 times the current trading price. This is what the market currently values the stock at. Someone's giving you an offer for 4 times that. Take the offer, right? But nonetheless, for whatever reason, the prices started to come back down. So I find it surprising, a little bit confusing. Will be interesting to see what happens. So at this point now, this is presented to the board of directors, who then present it to shareholders. And, well, they could, they are working on behalf of shareholders, so they could approve it. And then I don't know, it depends, I guess, on the bylaws and whether or not shareholders are required to vote on this buyout. But I think the board of directors is probably authorized to approve it. And then if shareholders dispute, that could result in litigation. But probably, if it's a good offer, you'd think they would accept it. So anyways, I don't know what's going to happen, but this was kind of confusing. Nonetheless, the trade was $1,000 of profit. And I don't have any problem with the trade because I bought that dip off of 3. Pulls back to 3, stop at 3, squeezing back up. And in those first moments, that actually highlights the fact that when we first get that momentum, when these first start squeezing, the actual catalyst isn't as important as the fact that you've got rate of change. Now, eventually, long-term, that catalyst does matter. By the way, just watching XHG, which is my biggest winner today, it's currently just hit a high of 196%, and I saw a 230,000 share seller come out on the level 2 there. So this one's interesting because there's been a lot of selling. It's a Chinese stock up on no news. All right. So, again, 67,000 share seller right there. This thing literally was at $1 a share this morning, goes up to $1.10, 15, drops, or $1.40, drops all the way back to $1, then rips through $1.50, goes up to $1.75, pulls back, goes up to $2. Let's start talking about it. This is the one that I made the most money on. And as it turns out, I left some money on the table, but I'm walking away here in the green, and I'm pretty happy with that because it, locks up the month of September. So, all right, so let's look at XHG. XHG first hits the scanners this morning when it pops up right here to $1.40. And when it popped up right here to $1.40, the initial response was, oh, it's a Chinese stock with no news, except for Chinese stimulus, stuff like that. So I don't know. Ends up dropping, does a full round trip, goes from $1.40 all the way back down to $1.05. All right. Then it bounces off this level and squeezes back up to $1.40 and goes up to a high of $1.52. As it pulls back right here, I got in right here. It was actually on this pullback right here. I bought that pullback right there. I probably should have bought this one. I was just a little too slow. I was like, I don't know if it's going to work. It's kind of cheap. Is it going to work? But it ends up breaking this level. I jumped in right there. That was my first entry in at about $1.65. Goes up to $1.75, goes up to $1.80. I take my profit off the table. Then it pulls back right here. I bought this dip at about $1.66 right here. It pops back up to 75. I get out at like 71. It's like 4 cents a share profit. It comes back down. I get back in at 60, double bottom. And on that one, it kind of just bounced like 2 cents a share. It was a small bounce. It goes up to 75 and then it dumps down to 55. Kind of a false breakout. And the thing on this one was I was really hoping that this was going to create our first 1 minute candle to make a new high. Because on the 1 minute, we have green candles. Remember, every 6 10-second candles forms a 1 minute candle. So green candles, and then we had a red candle, and then this was red, but with a bottoming tail, kind of like that. So I was looking for this next candle right here to break and squeeze back to $1.85, $1.90. That's what I wanted to see happen. Instead, it ends up dropping lower. So it goes lower, goes sideways, and then right here, I get back in. And look at this candle. Holy smokes. This thing goes to $1.90. It then dumps to $1.55. I'm holding my full position. It comes back up. I got out at $1.80. I was like, whoa, that was close. I was not expecting that kind of whip. That's a 40-cent whip on a $2 stock. It then comes back up, and I nervously, with small size, got back in at 190 for the breakthrough 2. It goes to 205. It pulls back. I then get back in at 205 right here. It drops back down. I then get back in the second attempt, over 205. It goes to 210, 215, 220, and there it pops up to 230. Best exit. The high was 228. Best exit was probably 225. And then it starts pulling back a little bit. So I traded it quite a bit. I even traded it through this area looking for that second break through the high. And I kind of, got a little burnt out on it because I kept getting in, getting out. And I just felt like I was pushing my luck. Now, I traded it through this first leg of the move going up right here. And then right about here, we had the MACD crossover. Where's my drawing tool? My drawing tool's not working. Whatever. So right about here, we have the MACD crossover. MACD crosses over. And in spite of that, I did take this trade with smaller size. And the reason I took this trade here with smaller size was because I thought even though the MACD was crossing over, it was pretty strong. It was pretty obvious. I should give it a chance. So small size trade, but it didn't work. It wasn't a significant loser, but it was just a small trade. And then at the open, pops, drops, no trades, sells off, no trades. And then all of a sudden, 10 a.m. rips through and halts up. Opens, dips. I was like, is it going to dip and rip? And it kind of hesitated for a second. And then it rips up to 56.60. Pulls back up to 65, pulls back, no trades in it here. Watching it, rejection, and then ripping back up, and now rejecting again. So, you know what? I'm not up that much on it, all things considered, but I am green. I really shouldn't complain at all because green is always good. And I followed my rules of being aggressive on more or less the front side of the move. And one of the things, and Duo is just continuing to push higher. And this is a stock, by the way, that has a history of making some big moves, but has also done a bunch of reverse splits. And, we could almost say is, I don't know if too many people would connect to these two lines, but maybe you'll have ascending resistance in there. You don't usually see that on these charts. Usually it's descending, but anyway, so, I think for me, the interesting thing that we noticed in my metrics from last week was that last week I took about 76 trades. Accuracy was 82% and profit loss ratio, I want to say it was 3 to 1. It was more than 3 to 1. That was last week. The week before, So the week before, I took about 208 trades. I had something like, it was like 58% accuracy, a 1-to-1 profit loss ratio. And even though I traded a lot more, I made less money. So this was about, I think it was $15,000 average profit over the 3 weeks prior. And this was, I can't remember what I did last week. Was it 30,000? It was 30,000, I think. So what's interesting here is more profit on fewer trades, but with much higher accuracy and a much better profit to loss ratio. So today, I did take a few more trades. I have a bit of confidence here coming in Monday morning after a good week last week. And I thought, all right, look, first trade of the day, $1,600. That's great. Let's see what I can do. And, traded XHG pretty aggressively. I did the best I could on it, but I wasn't able to do anything crazy. I didn't double my daily goal. I didn't. It ends up that today is just more or less a base hit day. And I think that today probably we would see that my accuracy is a little lower because of some of these quick entries and exits on XHG. So I think my accuracy is a little lower today. My profit loss ratio might also be a little lower today because I really didn't have big winners. I mean, I had two $1,500 winners. And then I guess my biggest loser was probably like $500 on XHG. So I guess it's probably a decent profit loss ratio. But I also had a couple small winners like GRR. Those were one small winner, one small loser. It's just like a $60 winner, then a $40 loser. EMKR, that's a decent winner. But I also had some really small winners on XHG. So this is the stock I traded the most by far. And considering how much I traded it, I don't feel like I really have a lot to show for it. And it wouldn't be hard with one trade of 15,000 shares on a 20-cent whip to give back everything I made on it. And that's kind of why I'm like, I don't want to overstay my welcome. So green is good. I'm grateful to be in the position I'm at. And now, look, we've got the opportunity to start a brand new month. So for October, what's the game plan? Well, my plan for the month ahead, I'm expecting that for October, we're going to continue to see volatility at the open. Pre-market based exactly on when breaking news comes out. So breaking news, that's going to trigger momentum. And then at the open, it's going to be continuation on the stocks that have been the strongest from pre-market, with the exception of maybe some surprise stocks that have breaking news at the open, or stocks that just kind of all of a sudden get some momentum at the open but weren't strong pre-market, which happened on PRTG, or maybe it was GLMD last month, early September, but is not as common. So the game plan for the month ahead is going to continue to be aggressive trading when breaking news comes out. And for those of you guys that want to watch over my shoulder through the month of October, make sure you check out the 2-week trial. The 2-week Pro Preview trial gives you a experience of what it's like to be a Warrior Pro member here at Warrior Trading. So check that out. Link will be pinned to the top of the comments and in the description. Let's get October off to a great start. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. I'll be tuning in around 6:45, 7 a.m. And hopefully we have some good stocks on the scanners. All right, that's it for me. Reminder as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so manage your risk, take it slow, and let's see you guys back here first thing tomorrow morning.